Thank you for staying with us on The Big Story. We're looking at assassination allegations against Deputy President William Ruto. We're doing that with Danson Omari, who's in our City Center studio. And I want to engage George Msamali, who's a security analyst. He's joining us on phone. We will be speaking to Caleb Amisi as well, who's a member of Parliament, Saboti. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Msamali, I'm listening into the explanation that was given by Munya and the other two CSs in the morning. And they're saying we're not giving a statement unless there is a complainant. I was speaking to Danson Omari a little earlier, and he says, I mean, these are not allegations that you can take seriously. This is number 2 in the Republic of Kenya. From a security point of view, the allegations that are being thrown around about assassination plans surrounding the Deputy President, what comes to mind security-wise, and how bad, how grave is this?
From a security perspective, there's nothing like a threat. All threats should be taken seriously until properly investigated and found just to be empty threats. But where I'm studying, I believe that this is coming from the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and the moment that he has said that his life is in danger, then this should be taken seriously, proper investigations done, a risk analysis, a threat analysis done, until we get to that point when we say this was just false allegations, and there's nothing in the pipeline like people trying to plan to assassinate the Deputy President of this country. So let's not say these are allegations. Let's treat them as serious threats to the life of the Deputy President, because coming from him, it means probably he has more information that he needs to share with the DCI for them to carry out conclusive investigations.
You know, this is coming just a day after the personal assistant to Elgeyo Marakwet, Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, was abducted. His body was later found a day later. And those who say perhaps a lot now needs to change around the security of Deputy President William Ruto.
Yeah, a lot needs to change now, because the bedrock of close protection is normally threat assessment and risk assessment. And when you do a threat assessment, these are two different things. When you do a threat assessment, it's, for example, you are assessing whether there is a possibility of a kidnap, there's a possibility of assassination, we have natural disasters, and then when you move to a risk assessment, this is where you determine whether there is a likelihood of any of the threats being carried out and succeeding. And this is where now you go sit down and plan the security of a VIP. So I think we need very quickly to do a threat assessment on the security of the Deputy President, and then do a risk assessment, because right now what you're being told are threats of assassination. It's not the first time we've seen this happening to leaders, not only in Kenya, but even in the world. We saw the abduction, the kidnapping of Aldromo, the Prime Minister-elect of Italy. We've seen the assassination of people like Indira Gandhi. Closer home, we've seen the assassination of Senior Kabila. And closer into Kenya, we've seen leaders who have been killed. For example, there was J.M. Kariuki, there was the killing of Tom Mboya, and then at some point, George Saitoti, one of the vice president, he was even poisoned. So we can't take this lightly. We just need to do this very seriously.
Okay, so I was listening into Munya in the morning, and he says, I mean, part of the reason why, one, he said there's no formal complaint, and he said the complainant has not actually given a statement. Danson was telling me, I mean, this is the number 2. You don't expect him to walk to DCI to go and give a statement. But then the other issue they had is that the Deputy President has never raised this in a formal meeting. Is this the kind of threat that you can actually raise in a formal meeting as number 2 of a republic?
I don't think he can raise it on a formal meeting, because I think if he called the director of DCI, then definitely he was making a formal complaint. So what remains to be done is this being booked in a police occurrence book, and then proper investigation being carried. There's due process. So you can't expect the Deputy President probably go to DCI. I think in this matter, the DCI should come to the Deputy President, record his statement, and then if names were mentioned, then I think the DCI did the right thing in summoning these people so that they can shed light. That is just the first process of an investigation. These are allegations as we treat them at the moment, but if this allegation, if there is evidence that can prove that these allegations were actually correct, because already Munya has accepted that they were meeting at the landmark. So meaning there might be information that has not been shared out. And I think it's from this point that the DCI decided to summon the 3 CSs so that they can shed more light on what has been happening.
All right. George Msamali, thank you for speaking to us on The Big Story. Dunstan, do I still have you?
Well.
Okay, so I'm listening in to Msamali. He says, he seems to agree with you. The Deputy President, by all means, the DCI should have looked for the Deputy President, get his statement and everything. But there's something that Munya said in the morning, that this now, the summoning of the 3 CSs to the DCI, he says this makes us look like court criminals. And that concerns me about the kind of relationship that is there, within the cabinet itself and within the Jubilee administration. What are your thoughts?
Linda, first of all, before we deal with the complex situation in Jubilee, let me put it to perspective that before 3 CSs were summoned, this matter must have escalated to the National Security Council.
Okay.
The DCI cannot summon 3 cabinet ministers within a phone call. They must have either been summoned yesterday night for them to be available at the DCI offices today. So this is not a matter that started today in the morning. The DCI, you cannot confirm whether there is a written statement or not. So therefore, I agree with Msamali that there is more that we don't know. Number 2, is there anything called Jubilee? There's nothing called Jubilee. Jubilee died, and Jubilee is waiting for the nail to be put on the coffin. The handshake made Jubilee not to be there. William Ruto and his group are feeling that the handshake is out to destroy them. The president and Raila Odinga are feeling that the handshake is about development. When now it has escalated into Munya addressing with contempt, with despise, the second in command of this nation. What happens today if William Ruto becomes the president? How will the cabinet be dealt with? Remember, this is a scenario that has never happened. William Ruto has half of the cabinet. President Uhuru Kenyatta has half of the cabinet. Are we likely to see government transactions, government business running? I doubt. Are we already seeing an impasse? Yes. Kenyans, my brothers and sisters, my mothers and fathers, be prepared for the worst, because the politicians have taken this country for a ride.
Dunstan,
yes.
From the statement that Munya gave, where was the contempt?
Hello?
From the statement that Munya gave today in the morning, where exactly was the contempt?
Really, what I'm saying, when he talks of the deputy president's statement being reckless, what does that mean?
Perhaps he knows the implications of the allegations that are being raised.
I don't know, but all that we are saying, in public, we expect cabinet to talk under a collective responsibility. When you see cabinet differing within the public domain, and especially when the difference is between a cabinet minister and a deputy president, what type of cabinet are we talking about? The collective responsibility binds every member of cabinet. Those matters could have been dealt inside without coming to the media. Now we are dealing with all these things in the public media, at the glare of the cameras. So that's what I'm saying. Do we have a one voice in cabinet? I don't think.
Let me bring in Caleb Amisi, Member of Parliament, Saboti. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Linda, I can hear you.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on The Big Story. So let me get your quick reaction on the allegations, assassination allegations that we've had about today against Deputy President William Ruto.
Okay, well, I don't know whether this can be considered as sub judice at this stage, but I think from what we've heard is that the DCI is yet to receive official statement from the Deputy President concerning the allegation, and that's why the 4 cabinet secretaries could not as well write any statement. But be as may, I think if the politics of this country has reached this level, then it calls for a national conversation around how we do our politics, because we cannot be playing with matters of death, to entangle it in our politics. Because if you talk about a death threat to a person or an assassination to a personality of the level of deputy president in this country. This is a person who enjoys security only second to the president. I mean, is one of the most protected individuals. So if the most protected individuals will come out and complain that his life is in danger, so what about the common mwananchi? What are you telling the rest of the country?
Oh.
So the matter, even from the face value, looks far-fetched because you don't expect 4 people, whether they are cabinet secretaries or normal Kenyans, to regroup and plan assassination. Assassination of this level really cannot be planned by 4 people. This is not a country where you assassinate people of this status. A deputy president and more so a person who enjoys following from a sizable number of Kenyans is not a person who will just be planned for a death by 4 of and more so senior government officials.
Okay,
so
hold on.
The whole story looks perfect from the face value.
Mheshimiwa, hold on. I need to ask something. At the beginning of your statement, you said, you sort of alluded to the fact that this is people playing with politics. So you're not seeing this as a threat per se. You think from your statement that this is a political propaganda.
This is a political propaganda in its true meaning. How will 4 cabinet secretaries plot assassination in broad daylight? I mean, it needs a rocket scientist to decipher this matter. So I think somebody somewhere has decided to play politics in a different level that is actually detrimental to the country. If we have reached at this level of using death threats as a political decoy, as a nation, we are actually playing something that is detrimental to our nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That is Caleb Amisi, Member of Parliament, Saboti. Danstan Omari, you get the final word in this show. So the Member of Parliament says, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is political propaganda. You cannot have 4 cabinet secretaries sitting and planning to assassinate someone with the stature of Deputy President William Ruto.
Linda, you see politicians will say what they want to say. One called Silvanus Osoro has said that the allegation was reported by the president. I don't have those facts. Another one called Hamisi from Saboti saying that is political propaganda. The question that is very critical for everybody in this country is there a security risk to the deputy president? That is your security risk. It is not about the risk of the life of the deputy president.
I think, Danstan, it is not even whether or not there is that threat. Forget the back and forth between the politicians. I think the biggest concern for people out there is the implication of these allegations. He did mention that Deputy President William Ruto has a huge following. And when you have allegations like this being made, they cannot be taken lightly.
The turnout of the constituents that William Ruto carries is what I said Raila Odinga carries, is what the president carries in this nation. The free people have the title deed of this nation. So when we hear such, we are looking at what is his followers going to do. Are we going to see a scenario that we cannot be able to manage? Let us not joke with the lives of citizens and children and mothers of this nation.
Okay.
Let us not trivialize this risk. It is about the life of this country. It's not about an individual. William Ruto's life does not belong to William Ruto or to Rachel. It is our own life. It is our own security. It is our own stability. It is our own economic development. Therefore, let the DCI move with the speed and conclude this matter before it escalates.
Because, Danstan, and that is why I'm cagey about this entire scenario. The message is already out there. People already know that these allegations. Of course, you have the CSS saying, we have no idea what you're talking about. The meeting we had was about development, and we've had the back and forth between politicians. What then should be done, A, to make sure that this does not have unintended consequences within the masses?
I fear for myself and I fear for every citizen of this nation. Remember, the meeting was conducted in a hotel 10 meters away from the NSI's headquarters. They must be knowing what has been happening. Is it likely to cause tension and animosity within this country? Are we likely to see people heading to start the normal issues that they do? My fear is, unless this thing is resolved with a speed of lightning, we will not be able to contain the situation. But I urge Kenyans to be sober. I urge all my brothers and sisters in this nation, let us not take the law into our hands. Let us be sober. This is a matter in the hands of competent security organs, and the security organs should come out very clear to assure Kenyans that there is no reason to be worried about. Everything is in control. Yeah, so and the Deputy President needs to come out very clearly and assure Kenyans that he is safe, everything is perfect, and there's nothing to worry about.
So you need the DCI and the investigative organs to just tell Kenyans, we are handling this, it's okay. Yes. You need the Deputy President as well to just come and tell his supporters and the entire nation as well, because it just doesn't belong to his supporters, it belongs to the whole country, and just say, I am fine. Dunstan?
Yes,
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So in agreement.
The president should call a meeting of the big three, him, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, and assure Kenyans that everything is in control. Okay. The security apparatus should come out and say there is no threat to the Deputy President's life, and let politicians keep off. Yeah. This is a security issue. It's not a political question.
Hold on, because politicians, there's every likelihood that they would probably make it worse. But Dunstan, I thank you for your time and for speaking to us on the big story. A big thank you as well to Caleb Amisi, Member of Parliament Saboti, who spoke to us on phone. Big thank you as well to George Msamali, who's a security analyst who also spoke to us on phone. A big thank you as well to our lead reporter, Duncan Haimba, who spoke to Silvanus Osoro, Member of Parliament South Mugirango. I'm Linda Ogutu. Thank you for watching. Good evening.